Hey, what is up you guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel and the Unboring Adulting series. It's Sherry here, and today I just thought of filming a little video because I just hit my 2-year Googleversary. So anyways, I just thought what better way to mark this milestone than to share with you guys 5 of the biggest lessons that I've learned over here. For those of you who have not met me yet, I'm a communications associate at Google in the APAC marketing team, and the past 2 years has been nothing short of an incredible journey where I've met so many amazing people and I'm just really grateful for everything. As we go through my 5 tips, I really hope that you can drop down a comment below if you resonate with any of these tips so that we can keep the conversation going. So the very first piece of advice I have is to embrace the pre-work hustle. You might not notice it right now, but when you're a student, you actually have the most time to try out new things and learn new skills. So one of the key things that I find myself doing right now is learning French and trying to get my driver's license, but man, I wish I did all of that in university. I also just got introduced to surfing and snowboarding. It's so much fun, but again, I need time and I need to take leave to go on holidays. So again, if you can pick up new skills and hobbies, do it when you're in university. Maybe it's learning finance skills, coding skills, creative skills. And the second big pillar of stuff that I recommend you doing is to really travel as much as you can. So if there's opportunities like maybe it's a cultural exchange or maybe it's doing an internship overseas, I think it's really great to broaden your perspective and your worldview by just meeting people from all walks of life and embracing different cultures and lifestyles. I think another part of this is also doing a graduation trip. I know some of y'all might go straight into working, but I need to just remind you, like literally once you start working, you need to ask for permission to go on holidays. It might not be as easy as possible for you to schedule these trips. One of the last few times that you get to really take a really long trip if you need on a break before you start the work grind. And the last pillar would be all about, finding ways to go out of your comfort zone and try something new. Maybe it's a side gig or a side hustle. You get to learn a lot of, practical business skills. You get to perhaps have a side income in the future. For me, I'm so grateful that I did my YouTube channel because, oh my gosh, if I have to start it right now at work, I just cannot imagine, right? So I never know if some of the skills and hobbies that you pick up might add value to your resume or your career in the long term. Discover as much as you can about yourself and don't wait till you start working to do all of that. The second biggest learning I had is the importance of having a growth mindset and knowing that it's okay to doubt yourself sometimes, but it's even more important to not give up and to just keep on trying and learning and having the right mindset and attitude. So for a bit of context over there, I think people don't really talk enough about how difficult it is to transition from a student or an intern to a full-timer, right? Like for me, it was a huge shock to my system because from a lifestyle perspective, it's completely different. From an expectations perspective, it really shoots up. You also get a lot less hand-holding, and there's just not a lot of support or conversations in this area. And I felt a bit lost. I was like, oh my gosh, all my friends are doing great at their jobs. Maybe I'm the one struggling alone. But anyways, yeah, the reason why I say this is because I studied marketing, and then for this role it's a communications role, and I was really excited about it to learn complementary skills in marketing. But the funny thing is that I thought in my head, okay, communications, I kind of can write well, I think. I have basic design skills, so I should be able to do this, right? But I tell you, I ended up doing 7 or 8 drafts per intro or versions of slide decks to get it to a good place. And yeah, I think the first 6 months it was a big struggle for me, from a capability standpoint. But I think really just practicing with the patience of my manager and also support from my peers, that's how I really learned. And I think along the way you might face self-doubt, or you might struggle a bit, or you might feel like, oh my gosh, I'm an imposter. But I'm here to tell you that it's all normal and healthy and part of the process, and as long as you bite the bullet and have a healthy mindset to this and embrace the change, embrace the challenge, you can go so far in terms of your learning, so just don't give up. You got it. The third biggest learning that I had is that finding the right role is not only about growth, but also a lot about fit. This is a concept that I didn't really think of a lot before I went to my job hunting phase, because we all hear the word culture fit or role fit, but I didn't really know what it meant. I didn't really understand how it felt like. But I think now in hindsight, when I give advice to my juniors especially, is that it's so important to just trust the process and find the right fit rather than forcing a fit. The reason why I say this is because I remember there were so many interviews that I've had, before Google, where I felt like I had to act a certain way, or I had to perform a certain way, or had to try and guess what they wanted me to say, or you know, maybe there's a better way to do this higher view interview, or maybe there's this like right personality for this test, or this assessment that they're doing. And I feel like the amazing thing is that when I did this Google interviews, I felt like I could really be myself. I could be honest, I could even laugh like during the interviews and just like really have a proper conversation. And that's what probably led to a great fit for me, at least. So yeah, sometimes I know, like for me, like getting rejected from so many roles, you know, it's kind of painful sometimes. But ultimately, I always think it's leading up to something that's really great. And in hindsight, I think if some of the roles where I had to pretend to be someone else, if they accepted me, I might not actually be as happy because I forced the fit instead of actually being myself, finding my tribe and fitting in. So I really hope that this makes, you know, some kind of sense, because yeah, you just gotta trust the process sometimes. So my fourth learning is that having people skills is so important, and it can bring you so far in terms of your learning, in terms of your success, and also in terms of your happiness. I know that sounds very meta, but I'll get to it. So for the first part, in terms of having people skills for your learning, I found that the biggest takeaways I've had by far in work is not necessarily from the work itself, but really from the unexpected, you know, sometimes conversations with people around me. It could be a peer beside me giving a brilliant creative idea. It could be someone giving me feedback. It could be a senior manager from a completely different department giving me very generous life advice. And I feel like if you have an open mind, if you know, ask questions, if you absorb all these different perspectives, you're gonna learn so much more in life. Not just about work stuff, but maybe about life stuff that you can ever imagine. So I highly recommend you to build people skills so that you can just tap on people's treasure trove of knowledge, which is their brain and their experiences and their beliefs and everything, and just, you know, just instill all of that. Yeah. Anyways, the second pillar is really about having people skills to advance your success. So something that I actually realized, you know, after working, is that in school we are taught a lot of theories and also getting things correct, etc. But actually work is the application of all of that. And you know, beyond your daily work stuff, I realized that work is actually about communication. You are sitting in meetings so that you can find the next steps and, you know, align with your stakeholders. Sometimes you get emails to answer questions or to, again, like, you know, find out what people are looking for and clarify things. And ultimately, you need people skills to do all of that. So if you want to collaborate more effectively, if you want to help to align the people or the stakeholders that you have in a project, if you really want to accelerate things and make it move faster in a way that is in the right direction, that's what people are looking for. Actually, people skills are so important and so underrated in this way. And the third pillar why people skills are really important is really in terms of your happiness. So I think work can be fun, and yeah, I use the fun word because for me personally, sometimes, you know, I can get a lot of satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment and also a sense of fulfillment from work. And being someone who's really people oriented, I feel that when people are enjoying the process, it makes everything feel so much better. You will actually feel a lot happier. You're spending so much of your time in your life at work, so you might as well have a good time while you're at it. And I think for me, something that I think is important is to build relationships that are, you know, not too transactional and also not too short term. Like ideally you can learn so much from the person, which brings me back to point one, or ideally you can, you know, stay in contact even beyond work and maybe have them as a friend, you never know. So yeah, I think that's my fourth biggest lesson, which is that ultimately people skills are so important. It's what can really help you to learn a lot, it's what can really help you to stand out a lot, and it's really what can help you to feel better and feel happier. I don't even know if what I just said was grammatically correct, but never mind, we'll think about it later. That felt like Singlish. So my fifth biggest lesson is the importance of work-life balance, and it doesn't come naturally. You have to like intentionally do things to make sure that it's balanced. The reason why I say this is because I think in my first 6 months to 1 year of working, I realized how, you know, my efforts were really prioritizing work, and that kind of neglected the other pillars of my life. And it's so important for us, you know, especially as you start to build your routine and everything, to be mindful of that and to really try and balance it out. Because imbalance happens when, you know, you're navigating through your priorities, but, you know, while you're prioritizing this area, your actions and your systems are being fueled to the other pillars. So yeah, you really need to intentionally find ways to have that balance. So for example, I remember when I started working, I kind of just neglected myself, right? Like I wasn't really eating as well. I think, you know, I had no time to cook or anything. I wasn't really exercising routinely. I just threw my exercise regime out of the way, let's just say that. I wasn't really going for pole classes as much. I was not really taking care of myself as well. I would like, you know, wake up and just think about work, or like, you know, even before going to bed, I'll just check my emails and feeling really insecure and anxious in that way, which I think is natural. I don't know. The second pillar that I think I neglected was also home. My room looks like a war zone. I had no time to like fold my clothes and stuff, and that kind of took like a back priority. I had fewer dinners or like, you know, meals with my family, so that was something that is not great. And I think the third pillar that I kind of, you know, put on the back burner was probably community. You know, spending less time with friends, because, you know, your friends are also trying to navigate their own work life and balance their priorities. It's a lot harder to find common time slots. You know, community service is something that goes on the back burner. Another thing was my hobbies. Yeah, I didn't make videos for like 2 years because I was just so paranoid of work stuff. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that it might feel natural for you to accidentally prioritize work stuff and accidentally deprioritize the other things. But I think, you know, after a few months, it's really important for you in the long term especially to build a routine, a regime that intentionally, you know, slots in your other pillars of life so that you don't feel too one-sided. And you also don't want your work to rule over your life, because it's not the only thing, right? There's so many other pillars that make life awesome, and it's really important to be mindful of that. So, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that these tips impact you positively. These are like my genuine biggest takeaways from 2 years of working, and I really hope that it benefits you in some way. If you have any ideas, builds, disagreements, please do comment them down below so that we can keep that conversation going. And I really hope to see you soon. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button, and we shall stay in touch. Best regards.